Mike Williams, formerly of the Chargers, if you do recall, released last week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of out of nowhere. Didn't know what the case was going to be. Thought he was going to be on the squad. He gets released. Who's this? Well, he's the big, tall, super athletic wide receiver that the Chargers have had. Last year didn't play a lot of games, but the years before that, though, averages playing about 12, 13 games a year.
Yeah.
So he is big. He is a wide receiver. There's a chance he's going to miss some games, but when he's on the field, weapon. I was hoping he was going to be an Indianapolis Colt. I think there was a lot of people that were hoping he would join their team. Now he's a member of the New York Football Jets.
Yep.
Wow.
Congrats to Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
Go.
Mike Williams is signing a 1-year deal worth up to $15 million with the Jets per source, says Adam Schefter. Now, we would assume that the Jets and Mike Williams had talked about the quarterback, which leads us to thinking Aaron's not going to be the vice president of the United States of America?
Correct.
No, not anymore.
Okay, we have not heard, right?
No.
The other running mate has been announced, I believe.
It has been officially announced?
Really?
I thought it was the Shanahan person.
Mike?
No, not Mike or Coach Kyle. I believe it is someone with the last name Shanahan.
So has it been leaked that they're a favorite for it, or the official news was already broke?
I don't think it's official, but I think it was reported that he is leaning towards her and not towards Rodgers.
Okay, because at some point he was leaning towards Rodgers.
Bingo.
So, what's real, what isn't, we don't know. But we assumed that was not reality, that Aaron Rodgers is going to be vice president. But then he puts out that tweet and he goes what you're saying about me is not true. Okay, that is not how I feel. I have nothing but, love for everybody that's gone through that. Had a lot of extra characters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Could have said, oh, by the way,
Yep.
staying on business, not VP.
There it is.
He could
Well said.
didn't say that. So we were very flustered as we were reading it live on air. Is this guy actually, Mike Williams signing there kind of tells me that they've had conversations. I assume Aaron and Mike Williams have chatted. If you start looking around at that offensive side of the ball for them, you got Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
You got Mike Williams.
Yep.
You got Breece Hall in the back.
Yep.
They just signed Tyron Smith, right? They signed a guard.
Morgan Moses from the Ravens for right tackle, and then John Simpson for guard. Yep.
Okay, you got Aaron Rodgers, a quarterback. They're allegedly interesting in talking to Jadeveon Clowney today on the defensive side, but that would be added to a top 10 defense in points, and I think top 2 in yards defense that Saleh has had over there. So it's wait a minute. All this hype around the Jets is going to happen because they're in the big city and Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback. But it's almost like it should be, especially with the addition of him. If you bring in Clowney, that's just an added weapon to a defense that's already stacked. How do you feel about it, and what do you think Aaron Rodgers is able to do with this team?
If Aaron Rodgers is healthy, this is a hard team to beat. The question is, if something happened to Aaron Rodgers, who they going to put in?
Well, Zach Wilson's still there.
Yep.
Tyrod Taylor.
They signed Tyrod Taylor.
All right. Let's just pray that nothing happened.
Hey, whoa! Come on!
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but it is backup quarterback. That is what is expectation of backup quarterback. How far are you going to go? Why is Aaron good, though? You were a corner in the NFL for 14 years. Now, I don't want you to have to sit here and be like, well, what he does versus other people, but why is Aaron such highly respected by every human that's ever played against him?
It's because the play action and the flick of the wrist. He can throw the ball from the opposite side of the hash all the way to the opposite numbers on the other side. Everybody can't do that.
And he can do it and put it in a place where it doesn't matter how you're covered.
Yeah.
He ruins your morale, your confidence.
You can be in good coverage, but the ball is going to be there, and it's going to be on time 9 times out of 10. So it's a 50-50.
Now, as he gets older, the only worry would be that his arm is not as strong? Is that would be a thing that would...
I don't think so, because he didn't play time he got in the league. So he had a little time, even though he's 40 years old. I really think he's still got a lot more football in there.
But that would be the worry, though, right? The worry would be that his arm isn't as strong, so he wouldn't be able to just 60-yard, 50-yard ball over guys. Remember, he puts he puts balls over defenders' shoulders.
Yep.
He's like the greatest football thrower of all time.
If you lose a little touch, but he's still going to be better than 90% of everybody else. Like, he's at the top of the level when it comes throwing the ball. You haven't seen too many quarterbacks that can throw the ball like Aaron Rodgers can throw the ball.
So that is why the hype is what it is. And I think Jets fans who've been through it for a year now, another year, with all this.
All the other stuff.
Expectations.
So much other stuff.
Minga, you know what I mean? What is all this? Our team sucked again. We didn't get any other quarterbacks. We're running it back with Hackett. We're running it back with this offense coordinator. We're running it back with this entire team. Why are we doing this? I think what we're all trying to say, that's a guy that was in the NFL for 14 years, watched a lot of quarterbacks. I think any other person you say, it's like, hey, if he's playing, it'll be worth it. First couple weeks might be crap.
Yeah, sure.
Might be because he's trying to figure it out too. He's trying to figure out every single person on his team. But then if that offense is able to find a rhythm, Jets fans would be like, oh, this is something we've never had before. A crop play that might have been run by Zach Wilson or any of the other quarterbacks of the past, at least he's checking out of. So you're not just like having the disaster play after disaster play after disaster play. He's potentially putting you in a spot to not hurt yourself. He won't give the ball to the other team. I mean, he's not going to put up a 500-yard game. Like, that's not going to happen. MetLife Stadium, you're not expecting that to take place anyway, especially whenever the weather changes. Now with Mike and Garrett, maybe. But he is not scared to do this one right here and not bitch about it at all. He's one of the only superstar quarterbacks where if he's not getting 100 shots up, he does not care. Like, that's what he wants to do. He'll check to a run 100% of the time if it's the right play. Like, he's not checking out of this thing. So I think Jets fans who have experienced all the Aaron Rodgers' life pretty much, everything he does is going to be. And he knows that at this stage. There's nothing he can do about it. And he's embraced it, I think, fully, that this is how my life is. But it's like Jets fans seemingly going to be worth it. And I like that they're making more moves. A lot of teams wanted Mike. Jets are able to get him somehow. Now, division's getting better. Division is potentially up for the grabs.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a fascinating time to be a Jets fan, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, it goes for every team in terms of like, hey, or at least like the really good teams, like the really only thing that could kind of derail their whole season is injuries. But I feel like more so than a lot of other teams, that's absolutely the case with the Jets, especially with some of these big free agent signings they've had. Like, you're obviously going to worry about Mike Williams' health. You're going to worry about Tyron Smith's health. You don't know about Rodgers just because he's never had an injury like this. Like, he's missed time in the past with collarbone and stuff like that, but you never know how his Achilles is going to react, with him being a little bit older now. So if they stay healthy, especially just look on paper, and, we've talked to GMs and they say, like, that's bullshit. Like, that shouldn't even be a phrase uttered in the NFL because it doesn't matter once you actually play the games. But, like, on paper, you look at their offense, you look at their defense, even their special teams, like, they should be one of the better teams in the AFC.
Congrats, Jets fans. We're back.
Yeah.
Well,
It's only a matter of time before we got the American flag on September 11th.
Don't do that. Don't do that. For sure, don't do that. I mean, that's the last thing you want Rodgers
I'm not
to be
even
doing.
going to say what I was thinking here.
Well, I mean, also September 11th, I do believe, is the Thursday night football game. So maybe they are on that game, and it would be Kirk Herbstreit and Al Michaels first because the first one's on NBC. But as Jets fans, every Jets fan knows, hey, something's going to happen, and it's going to stink.
That is what Jets fans are thinking.
Yes, and as a Patriots fan, I want that to happen, obviously, because I don't want them to do well. But when
You want the Kraft family to do well?
I'm going to plead the fifth on that one. But with that being said,
Hey,
Hey.